Hey broker community, I'm Katie Sweeney, the EVP of Strategy here at AIME, and we are back for another weekly sales meeting. We are only 10 days away from Fuse, and we are so excited with everything we have coming up for the next week and a half. But we have to stop and take a second to remember, in the midst of all of this chaos, your customer has to come first. So we're focusing on today. We talk a lot about technology, we talk a lot about efficiency, we talk a lot about how you can streamline your process. I am guilty of this. I'm the first person to jump on board and say, you have to find ways to replicate your process at scale. But at the end of the day, you have to remember there is a person on the other side of this loan conversation. It is not a transaction. It is something that's going to impact a human being's life for a very long time. We get really caught up in the race and how many loans we can close and how much volume we can do. And sometimes we forget the conversations need to be individualized. You need to stop and focus on that single customer and really think about what do they need, not just what loan product do they need, but what type of communication is going to best suit their personality, right? We work with people from all over the country. You know your local community better than anybody else. What style of communication is going to work? What type of process is going to work? Is it highly digital? Is it handheld? Is it somebody who needs to be on the phone all the time? Can you communicate everything needed via text? You're not going to know unless you pay attention to that individual consumer. It is going to make or break your reputation long term. If you take care of your customers, if you treat them like individuals, if you keep in mind that you're impacting a person or a couple or a family for potentially the rest of their lifetime with this loan decision that you're helping them with, you will be able to build a referral network that will continue to repay you and bring business to your front door over the course of your career. So don't forget, we are all crazy busy right now. We've all got a ton going on. We're trying to cram as much volume as we possibly can in. Don't forget that your customer is still a person. You have to treat them that way. Speaking of, once you've gotten through that loan transaction, don't forget to capitalize on the reviews. You treat your customer the best way possible. You individualize their experience. They're going to leave you a raving review. They're going to help you build your referral network. Ogvo, one of our Brokers Are Better partners, can definitely help you do that. They're going to automatically reach out for reviews. If they capture a review that's less than positive, they're going to notify you and allow you to course correct with that customer before that negative sentiment starts to travel outwards. Very important. You need to make sure that your reviews are connected to Google, to Facebook. Ogvo can help you do all of that. We use Ogvo here at AIME. That's how we capture all of the reviews from all of y'all that are continually giving us feedback. It is so easy to use. We learned the process in 10 minutes. Anybody can do it. It is critical to making sure once you've helped a customer through the transaction that you're taking advantage of the review that you can capture on the back end. This week's Lender Spotlight, Home Point Financial just launched a brand new product and pricing engine. We saw tons of great feedback about it over the last couple of days. It is so easy to use now. The navigation is better. There's time saving on the back end with the way they've reworked the product. They've got unlimited loan templates. You have default values that are going to auto-populate, so you don't have to re-enter them every single time. You can create and lock loans directly from their quick pricer tool. All in all, it is so much more streamlined than what you're used to. If you haven't checked out HomePoint in a while, definitely give them another look. If you've never worked with HomePoint before, email us, partnerships@aimegroup.com. We'll be more than happy to get you connected. I promise you are not going to be disappointed with this new launch. They've been working on it for quite some time. It is a great tool. This week on the Broker to Broker podcast, we have Claire and Matt Mahoney. Claire is a broker. Matt is her real estate husband. They're a duo out in the Oregon area. They're talking about managing chaos, leveraging real estate referrals, and how you can grow your business locally. Claire's been in the business for quite some time. These two work incredibly well together. They're also managing a large family. So how do you have both people working in the same industry that is so up and down all the time and managing all of the chaos that comes along with that? It's a great podcast. Check it out. Go download it from our website. Make sure to give it a listen. Claire and Matt, Broker to Broker. It's a good one. We have a webinar coming up tomorrow. A lot of y'all have been asking us about the online platform that we're hosting Fuse on this year. Again, Fuse is not a Zoom call. It is a full virtual experience. There's an entire platform that we've spent the last 4 or 5 months customizing, building out, making sure it was going to offer all of the features that we wanted to make sure you guys had available for the event. If we had to go virtual, we were making sure we were prepared. Once we made that decision, we leaned in on this tool. It is called Swap Card, and we are doing a full demo of it tomorrow, Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern. We're going to be talking about how you can set up your profile, how you can start scheduling the day of. We've got multiple content tracks running at the same time throughout the entire day of Fuse. So we're going to show you how you can set up your agenda so that it will notify you when different sessions are starting. We're also going to show you where all the on-demand content is going to be available, both before from all of our vendors and after from all of our speakers. So we'll have not just the content that runs live, but we'll have behind the scenes footage that we'll be putting in there as well. The tool is very cool. Make sure that you get your profile set up as soon as possible. Connect with everyone from the AIME team as soon as you get in there. Connect with me, Nicole, Val, Bree, all of the people that you engage with on a daily basis through our Brokers Are Better community. Make sure that you get that set up. 2 p.m. Thursday. It is tomorrow afternoon, 2 p.m. Eastern. Make sure to join us. Speaking of AimFuse Virtual, we are so excited. We are only 10 days away. We cannot wait for y'all to see everything that we've been working on. We also took into consideration needing to listen to our members. We just talked about listening to your customers. So here's how we listen to y'all. We knew that there was feedback once we announced that we were going fully virtual. There were people that were excited about getting to network and see other brokers from across the country in Las Vegas. So we tried to find a way to replicate it, and we are launching it today. We're hosting 4 networking events across the country immediately following Fuse. There are happy hours that we'll be having in Detroit, Denver, Phoenix, and Orange County that we'll be able to bring people from those areas together, allow everybody to mix and mingle, meet and network, make sure that you know people from your area. We'll also have members of the AIME team at every single one of those so you can meet some of the faces that you interact with on a daily basis within our communities. We're so excited about this. Go register right now. We do have limited space available at each of those locations because of some of the social distancing restrictions that are still in place regionally. So make sure to get registered. And if you register, make sure to show up because there are tons of people in your area that want to attend the same thing. So hit up our events webpage. We'll drop the link in the comments below. Make sure to come check it out. We are doing so much for AimFuse Virtual. You can connect directly with lender partners through the platform. You have 3 different success tracks that are going to be available on Thursday, a day ahead of Fuse, that are only available for Fuse attendees. If you have compliance questions, we're going to be answering them live with Ari Karen, our compliance expert. We're going to be focusing on what kind of language you can use in your marketing, how you need to employ different people within your brokerage based on their role, all kinds of great stuff. If you have questions, go drop them in Brokers Are Better. I put a poll up yesterday. Go give us the questions that you have so we can make sure we get them to Ari so he can answer them live for you during AimFuse Virtual. And we've got 37 different speakers. 37 different speakers. When have you ever been to an event, virtual or live, with that many speakers? We've got panels covering every single topic, and we've got experts not just from the vendor side or from the industry side, but we've got experts from the broker community. Y'all engage in this Brokers Are Better Facebook group every single day. We have over 7,500 people that are in there every month. We have 8,000 members. 7,500 are engaging at least a couple of times a month. We actually look at these numbers. You ask questions to your community all the time. We're bringing the best of the best to Detroit so that they can answer your questions and talk to you about all of the topics that you've been discussing over the last year. We've got industry leading lenders and vendors that are going to be a part of this conversation. All in all, if you break this down, that is $3 a speaker. You are paying $3 a speaker to be able to engage in AimFuse Virtual and hear content from the industry leaders, both brokers, lenders, vendors, and the AIME team. It is well worth your time. It is well worth the money. And you're going to be able to view this content for another week and a half after the event is over. You're not too busy. You have to stop and invest in yourself for you to be able to invest in other people, to invest back in your team, to invest back in your community. You need to hear these conversations. You are not going to find this content anywhere else. I guarantee you it will be worth your time. We are kicking it out to Rene, then Marc's going to wrap it up. Next week, don't forget, special edition of the weekly sales meeting. We're going to be coming to you live from our production studio outside of Detroit, giving you a sneak preview of what we have planned for AimFuse Virtual. Don't miss us. See you then.
Hey team, thanks again. So this week, we're really focusing in on how to not lose sight of the person and the people that we're all here to serve, which is our customer. In today's day and age of technology and Zoom meetings and virtual events, it's so simple, especially with so much automation available to us, to lose sight of that connection that we need to make. Our sales process, if you've watched any of these sales meetings, all is broken down to in the acronym of PAPCAR, P-A-P-C-A-R, which stands for prospecting, appointments, presentation, aftercare, closing, and getting referrals. Presentation, closing, aftercare, and getting referrals. And in that process, I want to focus today on the aftercare piece. See, once you've prospected, you've generated a lead. And with that lead, you take it and you set an appointment with that lead so that you can create a date, time, and a place so that you show up to do the presentation. At that presentation, you need to accomplish three things. You need to establish your credibility, differentiate yourself, and gain their trust. That's kind of hard to do in today's world. In doing this through a virtual format like what we have here, but if you've managed to do that, and quite frankly, in a low interest rate environment, there's not much time to be able to do that. People just want to get the deals done. But once you've done that, this step of aftercare is what a lot of people forget. The purpose of aftercare, this is critical, is to have the client say the word wow. If you can get them to feel wowed, understood, listened to, then getting referrals is very simple. And then we follow it back up to the top to create an appointment. So I want to share a very quick story. Back in the day, I don't know if you knew this, but I used to own a mortgage broker shop. We called it Referral Mortgage before, when that name was actually would have been legal. Today it would have been illegal. And what we did is, obviously, we were taking paper 1003s, and we trained our loan officers to listen for opportunities to wow. And because our loan officers were trained and they take the paper 1003, they were watching for opportunities. And there's this one time, this woman came in and she had her daughter in there. She's holding a big sleeve of Ritz crackers and she's feeding the daughter Ritz crackers as she's taking the 1003. And the daughter's yum, 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 eating the crackers, wah, starts crying. And the mother gives her another one, wah, yum, 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 wah, and the mother gives her another one. And after about the fifth time, the mother looks at the loan officer and says, I don't know what I'd do without these Ritz. These are my only sanity, and give her another Ritz. And all my loan officer did was write the word Ritz at the top of the paper. And so because of that, having a category and listening, guess what showed up at the closing at their house after they bought the home? It was a big Costco-sized box of Ritz with a bow on it that said, thanks and congratulations on your new home. We hope this makes the next few days just a little bit easier. And can you imagine what the person said when they saw it? Wow. So why did they say wow? It wasn't because it was a wow gift and expensive. It was Ritz. It was because the client felt heard. They felt like they were seen. And when I say seen, they were able to see who they were, the challenges they were facing, and the loan officer remembered it. That wow experience isn't about money. It's not about a big expense. It's about taking the time to understand and customize and tailor a solution based on listening to the needs of that client. So here's what I want you to do. Every big organization that I've worked with, some of the largest in the world, in a manufacturing organization, they know that the number one most important thing is safety. They want people to feel safe. And if you're in manufacturing and lumber and paper, there's a lot of places that you can actually get injured. And so every meeting begins with what they call a safety connection. Every meeting company-wide, they know is if they say, okay, safety connection, and somebody says, well, and they talk about a moment that people need to pay attention to in safety. And one person said, well, I was coming across the parking lot and somebody was texting and driving. They didn't see me, so I just want to remind everybody, please don't be texting and driving. Safety extends beyond the facility. Another person said, well, I was coming down the stairs and I had 2 bags and I didn't have a hand free to grab the railing, which is a rule, safety rule in a manufacturing site. So John was actually nice enough and he saw that and he came over, he grabbed a bag so I could put a hand on the railing. Those 2 incidences took about 30 to maybe a minute, minute and a half to talk about, and then the meeting began. What that does is it puts safety in the forefront of everyone. What I want to suggest is that you put wow in the forefront of every conversation and every meeting that you have. So here's my suggestion, that every single meeting that you start with a wow connection. What does that mean? You start and you ask, okay, does anybody have any wow connections? And here's what's going to happen. No one's going to know what the heck you're talking about. First, you're going to have to be able to tell a story, the importance of a wow. And because nobody has anything to share, you have to be ready yourself and maybe some of the people in your leadership team, or maybe put somebody in the audience to be able to tell a story where they share a story about how they wowed a customer. Now the next week, the meeting comes around and you say, all right, wow connection. Anybody wow a client this week? And it's going to be crickets again. And typically, this is where people give up and they say it doesn't work. No, the process works. You as a leader don't work. And so you have to stay in the game and train people that this is going to be a consistent thing. By that 3rd week, if you've done the first 2 weeks correctly and you were ready for stories, people now have created a new category to start seeing. Wow. And there's opportunities to wow. This little part of the brain called the reticular activating system is in charge of our attention and focus. Just like when you buy a new car and you think you're the only one with a Ford F-150 and you think, wow, I got this one, and all of a sudden they're everywhere. It's because your reticular activating system has created a new category to pay attention for that. You can do the same thing with wow. So start that meeting with a wow connection. Ask people, what have we done this week to wow somebody? And let those stories flow. If you don't have any, make sure that you come prepared to deliver those stories. And you will be shocked as to how many opportunities there are for people to just listen. And if you listen well enough, the customer will tell you exactly what it is that they want and how it is that they'll buy from you. So make sure that you're asking good questions. And when you ask those questions, make sure that you're listening. And if you are able to expand and dig a little deeper, you're able to extract even more as more of a quality way to be able to express your understanding and the fact that you listen to them, ultimately resulting in the client saying, wow. And so I want to leave you with that real simple tip. Please start all your meetings with that wow connection. And if you've wowed a client this week, put it in the comments. We want to hear, what have you done to wow clients? Do you have a systematic way that you know you're going to wow a client every time because at this point in the transaction, you do this? We used to have 88 touch points, all designed for wow, which is another thing that you can do is map out how often and where are you touching the client. I'm talking about emails. I'm talking about when they walk into your office, they enter your Zoom room. What are they looking at? Everything. What is an opportunity that you could have to create a wow at each one of those places? You'd be surprised at how many missed opportunities that we have. So search for every opportunity that you have to be able to wow your clients. And as we ask every week, how productive were you this week? Did you make enough phone calls? Did you collect enough information? Did you do what you need to do to feel that this was a productive week? What number is going to go inside of your productivity box? Again, please join us every week, and we are excited to see all of you at AIME Fuse. Back to you, Philly.
Thanks, Rene. Great session again, as always. I appreciate your insight. I know I always say that, but you have a different way of bringing it in and bringing it all together. And Katie, great job on your part. Took a lot of my points, but they're all great points. So, I just want to bring you into my world and how I do things as I'm a broker, so let's get to it. And thank you for joining this part of the weekly sales meeting. My name is Marc Summers, and I'm the president of AIME. So obviously we've been talking about listening to your customer, listening to the consumer, I should more say, and don't get so caught up in the efficiency and automation of everything. Now, although they are really, really, really important, we can't get too caught up in that because we always have to bring it back. Now, the one thing that I've always said in every single sales meeting that I've done is this, is always put the consumer first. If you do that, it makes your job a lot easier. So if we're putting the consumer first, we are listening to them. And I think that's a key part. And I think that's one reason, I'll call myself successful in this business of why I think I've had success. It's because I listen. I look at it this way. We are so many small individual broker shops around the nation that are competing against the big banks, and there's not many big banks, but there's many more of us. So what we have to understand is this: we are in the community. We know the values, we know the people, we know everyone's mentality in our community, and we cannot take that for granted. Now, just like I've said, I believe automation and all that stuff is really important for us to be successful, but you also have to go back to your roots, which is we are what's best for consumers. It's because we have that personal touch. We are the experts in this entire industry, so you have to use it to your advantage and never let that slip away. Okay, so I think it's just really important that when you're talking to these consumers, that the listening aspect of it is so huge that it could grow your business substantially. And this is kind of how I kind of do things and give you a few tips and, send you guys on your way because we're going to crush the rest of this week, crush the rest of the month. We got Fuse coming up. So here are just a couple tips that I use. Is one, telling is not selling. All right. So this is why it's so important to listen to your customer, because instead of just saying, if someone calls you and says, hey, what's the rate? Well, take it a step further. I always take it a step further and start asking questions. And what I mean by that is I'll say, okay, I can tell you rates, but I want to make sure I'm meeting your goals. So what are your financial goals when it comes to your mortgage? It brings it back. It takes a step back of what you're actually trying to accomplish, and you're not just selling rate. You just valued yourself right there just by asking that question. And within reason now, you're going to get a lot more information as the consumer tells you more about their situation and what they're trying to do. Okay, so as I always say, telling's not selling. Don't sell the rate, sell the goal. Sell what you're doing and what you're trying to do for the consumer, which is obviously put them in a better situation that meets their financial needs and goals. Not yours, but theirs, okay? Next is this, so once you have that and you have all the information, you can then give them your expertise. Now, we all know that we are the experts of this business. We're the ones going to take classes and continuing eds. We're the ones that are getting better at everything that we do every single day with all of the trainings and seminars that we go to. So this is where you put in your expertise. After you have all the information, the borrower may seem like they're going down a specific road, but now this is where you give your expertise and say, well, with my experience, it could be XYZ. It could be putting you on a 26-year mortgage, a 20-year mortgage, and keeping the payment the same. A lot of people don't know. A lot of people think all you can get is 15, 20, and 30 years, but a lot of people don't know that we have many other options and many different leeways of doing things, whether it's an escrow waiver or waiving an underwriting fee, rolling cost in. Many people don't know this, okay? Because it's just kind of what has been through mainstream media for so long. And, some of the same people that say, oh, I go to my bank because I bank there. No, this is where we lend our expertise. But you first have to listen. Obviously, we always put the consumer first, and then that's where you put in your expertise and your experience, and that's how you continue to gain and grow your book of business, which is obviously the most important thing here. As AIME has always said, our mission statement is to grow more market share. All right. If you're just going to sell rates, you might as well put everyone in an automation and be done with it. So I know we're not doing that. I know we are what's best for consumers. Keep pushing forward. Everyone out there, I'm in the Brokers Are Better Facebook group page. I'm reading so many success stories, and I just absolutely love it. Obviously, some of this stuff may be trivial, or preschoolish of what I'm saying, but I really think sometimes, especially where we're at right now with these low interest rates and all these great programs available, that sometimes we just need to take a step back and say, listen, I need to calm down and listen to the consumer. We are what's best for consumers because we listen and put their values first and their goals and needs first. So thank you for having me. I do want to give you a quick legislative update here, which is they were trying to pass a COVID stimulus bill in the Senate Republic, and they did not get enough votes to end that debate, so it's still going on. And then the Federal Housing Service Committee is meeting today as well to discuss the FHFA 50 basis points hit. Now, I don't have any insight on that, but I will say this. As soon as we have more information, we will let you know, and you can always visit our legislative page at aimgroup.com. So thank you for having me. Once again, my name is Marc Summers. I'm the president of AIME. Thank you for having me and joining me on another weekly sales meeting. We'll see you next week. And remember, Fuse is right around the corner. So really looking forward to that. Looking forward to just getting energized again and moving forward. So thank you for joining me, and you have a great rest of the week.